Dr. Helen Davis-Frazier was elected to the Charleston County School Board in November to represent the citizens and students of West Ashley and the outer areas. Today, I talk one-on-one with her for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Dr. Helen Davis-Frazier, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Well, thank you for having me, Quintin.
Yes, ma'am. I know it's been a long time since we wanted to get this done, and here we are.
Yes, we are.
And I'm sorry I couldn't get you during the primary and during obviously the election time, but obviously now you're an elected official because you are the Charleston County School Board member representing the West Ashley area and the outer areas of Charleston County. Let me ask you this. From November to right now, who is Dr. Helen Davis-Frazier?
Dr. Helen Davis-Frazier is a person who's just committed to working with this community, especially our children and our families. And of course, Quintin, I am a product of this school district because I worked here previously for 20 years. It gives me an advantage of being a member of the board because I know all of the ins and outs of what has been going on in the district over the years. I have a past history of working under the supervision of several superintendents, and I'm excited about working under our present superintendent and want to reinforce some of the goals that we have for the district. And I'm just looking forward to making some changes and being so elated about being busy.
You talk about reinforcing those goals. What are those goals right now in your vision?
Well, because of the pandemic, our goals now, in my opinion, is to make sure that all of our students, faculty, and staff are safe. And with our numbers increasing, I think that this district has done a great job of keeping tabs on the numbers, making sure that we provide the kind of environment that's conducive to our students remaining in the classroom. And of course, you know, Quintin, that we've done a lot of studies. Other districts have moved to virtual. We have decided to stay in person. And from what I'm gathering from my constituents, this is what they want. They want their students to be in class because you know this pandemic has really put some of our students at a disadvantage when it comes to learning. And the studies have already shown that in-person learning is always better for the students in terms of gaining knowledge and being productive in their classroom work.
But Dr. Frazier, learning is good, but is it safe in class? Should it be virtual?
Well, from the studies that I have been reading, and it shows that students are safer in the schools than they are out in the community. And particularly my community. I'm concerned because when students are home, we have found out that they have not been attending to keeping up with their work. They're lagging behind. Some of our parents really don't know how to help the student with their work. Our parents have to work, especially in the area that I'm from. I'm down in the Hollywood, Ravenel area. Some of our students are having problems getting connected to the internet. So in my opinion, I am in favor of in-person learning. And from the responses that I've gotten from my constituents who have been emailing me all week for the past week or so, they want their child in school.
Now, you've been talking to constituents and parents. Have you talked to any teachers?
I have listened to some teachers. Teachers are afraid that students might bring the virus into them. The protocol is in place so that we can prevent our teachers from becoming infected. And we also know that once you have come in contact with a student who has tested positive, that there are protocols in place to protect that particular teacher or administrator.
Now, are those protocols good for your particular school and your particular district?
They're working in my district.
Okay.
And I have also talked to parents in other districts.
Okay.
Because I've worked all over this district. Right. I have been in touch with parents throughout the North Charleston area, the Hollywood area, Johns Island, and everyone is telling me, I want my child in person. They have lost so much from being out during the holidays. Give us a chance so that they can catch up on their work and be good at what they're doing. So I got to support my parents. And I have more parents saying in person than I have parents saying, no, I want my child at home.
And where is your support for the teachers?
My support is for the teachers. We can't have school unless we have teachers. And I understand that you have a grave concern because you have been listening to some teachers. I know. And it's a balance. It's a balance. And it's a tough call for the superintendent and her staff to try to make sure that our students are learning and trying to be safe and trying to protect the welfare of the staff.
Now, I know there's a couple of teachers sent, a letter out basically saying, hey, we need help here. And it says this, and I'm breaking it down, quote,
Okay.
We respectfully ask that you use the public data and information at hand in order to move our district to virtual learning until it is safe for everyone in the Charleston County School District. It says this, our school administration, departments, faculty, and staff have done a superb job of following guidelines for COVID. We are proactive about keeping our school clean and ready for our students each and every day. We control what we can. Unfortunately, what is completely out of control is the rapid increase in community spreading of COVID in our county. Let me ask you this, Dr. Frazier. What are the numbers when you think of your district down there in Hollywood and Ravenel?
I have not particularly looked at the numbers to give you a number of. All I know is that there is a rise throughout the county, and not just Charleston County, in other counties. And of course, you know that I'm from Orangeburg and I'm there on the weekends. There's a significant rise throughout the state, throughout the country. But we also have to realize that we have to balance. Our reason for being here is to educate children. At the same time, we have to be concerned about the safety of the staff and our students. So it's a balance. And this staff, the superintendent, I think, in my opinion, are doing whatever they can to make sure that there is a balance so that we can move forward with doing what we were paid to do by the residents of Charleston County.
Now, I know you talked earlier about North Charleston and speaking with people in the North Charleston area. I got to take you to Channel 2, Dr. Frazier. It says this. Parents say multiple students at one Charleston County school tested positive for COVID in one of their classrooms, and the district had not notified them. What is that typical process of notifying the teachers and parents and students?
Well, because of laws, the protocol is that you don't name students because you don't want to bring any unnecessary lawsuits against a particular family, but they do notify the parents of those children who have been in contact with the child who has tested positive. But it's not a widespread notification by sending out a notice of everyone in that classroom that there is a child in that class that has tested positive.
What particular protocol should change in your mind?
I think right now, we have a handle on it. I'm looking forward to tonight's meeting, in which the superintendent will give us an update on the COVID-19 protocol. There has been a lot of concern from community members about this protocol. We have to understand that as a board, we are policymakers, and we have hired a superintendent with the charge of running this district, and we have to allow her to do that and hold her accountable. So we're looking forward for an update, and then we'll take it from there.
What exactly do you want to hear from the superintendent tonight?
Tonight, I'm looking forward to hearing how is the district doing overall in terms of number of cases reported, number of faculty members that are not here because of the virus, and I'm also interested in numbers of kids who have lost ground because they have not been able to be in school, and that's important.
Have the teachers lost ground?
I think what is happening with our teachers, and I will be honest with you, Quintin, teachers have complained to me that because of the virus, they're having some issues with some classes being overcrowded. I have not been out to any of the schools because, you know, I'm trying to stay safe also.
Sure.
So tonight will give me an update, the rest of the board members, we are anxious to move forward with whatever the superintendent has charged us with, the information that's available to her, and we'll move from there. We'll see what happens.
Should the teachers be a part of the obviously the planning process when it comes to obviously keeping kids in school and virtual?
I think that this is a new topic for everyone. Unfortunately, no one has ever experienced a situation like this in the past. So that's a good point. Teachers should be involved in the process, but at the same time, we have to understand that there are parents out there with children who have some concerns about the learning process for their child.
And speaking of which, I believe it's on the agenda for the committee of whole, but let's talk about the learning pods.
Okay.
What is the risk tolerance and the comfort level when it comes to COVID with that?
Well, tonight I'm looking forward to having an update on learning pods. This is a new venture that the district has decided to undertake due to COVID-19. And of course, the learning pods were developed to sort of work with those students who have lost gains in the learning process. So that's going to be a new topic that's going to be coming up tonight, and the person is on the agenda to discuss that with the board.
Now, where have gains been lost in your district, in your particular area?
I think the gains have been lost throughout the district. I just don't think that it's just my area. I think that once these students were at home, some without parental supervision, and you know that in many cases, students are not going to follow the guideline and get up in the mornings and sign in to classes. So that I think that's an issue throughout the district. But I also would like to see us go a little bit farther, Quintin, so that when we look at our numbers and assess the situation, then we can come up with a district-wide plan to work with those students who we know have fallen behind. So I'm looking forward to helping and giving my input on developing a district-wide program.
And when should this district-wide program or plan be developed?
Well, we have staff available here at the district office who have already started the process of looking at data to determine what students have lost gains in the North Charleston area. It is not a district-wide project up to this point, but of course it will be hopefully as we move forward. But we have to start somewhere.
And where do you start when you look at your data?
When I look at my data, I'm not interested in just looking at one particular area because I represent Charleston County School District. So I'm looking at the totality of what is going on in the district and where do we go from here. I understand that it has been a horrible strain on staff, faculty. The district level staff have been working hours and hours just trying to get a handle on the COVID-19 protocols and making sure that everything is in place to keep our students, faculty, and staff safe. And so there's much to learn about where do we go from here. And then there's so much that we're going to have to do in the future because of what we have learned that over the days of how this virus has affected the learning process with our students.
Now let me get back to the learning pods, Dr. Frazier. When you think of those learning pods, that is, do you trust that families will actually follow the school district's code of conduct?
It is hopeful that parents will follow the code of conduct. My issue is that I'm just hopeful that parents will take advantage of the offer to become involved. And that's my only concern. And briefly looking at the numbers that were presented to us in a briefing, the numbers are very low. And I'm concerned that many parents may not know about the process, and many parents may not know how actually to get their child involved. So I think tonight we're going to get some clarification on the learning pods. I'm excited that we have decided to go this route. I just need to learn more about how we're going to implement learning pods, where are the learning pods, the selection of the sites for the pods, and hopefully all of that information will be given to us in the board meeting tonight.
And I know one last question about that, Dr. Frazier. Let me ask you, what you talked about offered, should the parents agree to a pod hosting schedule in advance?
I think that in order for the learning pod concept to be effective, parents are going to have to give consent to be involved. I just hope that we find that this is an offer that parents just can't turn down, and that we would decide to go district-wide with a program that would encompass all children who have been left behind and who can take advantage of this program. So I'm excited. I don't think that this is going to be a catch-all kind of program. Okay. I think that we would probably take a look at other kinds of opportunities for students, especially in our rural areas. So as we move forward, we're going to have to take a look at how we're going to address those students who have been affected most by not being involved in an in-person learning environment.
Now, those other opportunities for the rural schools, what are you proposing right now, Dr. Frazier?
Well, I have been contacted by some of my constituents because they want to know how could they get involved. I will be talking with them and getting their ideas of what do they see as the problem. And I think it's very important that we engage our community, our parents, and stakeholders before we move forward with a full-scale program to address the problem of children being left behind in the process.
Now, with that learning part, if someone were to be exposed, then what?
Well, I think that with the learning pods, then we're going to have to develop protocol for kids in that environment. And so, as I said before, we'll be taking a look at how the program is going to be set up. That's going to be a part of a board briefing tonight. And so we'll learn more about that at the time that we have our board meeting tonight. So we're going to be here for a while tonight because there's so much information that will be given to us to address us and get us up to date on what is going on.
Now, in the process of COVID-19, Dr. Frazier, you just talked about obviously some, potential opportunities for rural schools, and we know the issues that deal with rural schools. But how do you make education equitable this year?
How do we make education equitable, not just this year, but how do we make education equitable for all children? And Charleston County School District has a long way to go to address this issue. This has been my fight for the past 20 years while I've worked for the district. Why is it that we funnel resources into magnet schools and charter schools and other schools, whereas the district, and I keep saying this, Quintin, the district is only as strong as its weakest link. And in order to get us back on track, we're going to have to start putting our money into those schools, those environments that we have neglected over the years. So this is the reason why I ran for the board, because I have seen how disproportionately we have addressed the schools where other children attend and where we have not given proportionately to schools where poor children attend. So I am ready to address the inequities. I am ready to roll up my sleeves and help this superintendent and this district move forward, because we cannot continue to expect considerable gains when we have schools who are not getting their fair portion of the monies to bring them up to par.
How much money does your area need right now?
Our area needs all of the money that has been lacking over the past 20 years since I've been working in the district. And I don't have an exact figure, but anytime you have neglected a district because of whatever, the residents not being involved, poor people involved, children of color being involved. Whenever those areas have been neglected, and you have decided over the years to place your money into areas where parents are more involved, where children will succeed regardless of where you place them, then that becomes a problem. And that's where I want us to focus our attention when it comes to expenditures, that we take a look at the areas that we have neglected, those students who have not done well over the years because we have neglected those areas, and then funnel the kinds of expenditures and programs into those schools to bring them up to par.
You said earlier the weakest link. What is that weakest link here?
The weakest link of our schools where black children attend, where poor children attend. And we have to do a better job of taking a look at putting resources to alleviate the problem of disparities when it comes to educating poor children. We have to do that.
But then what is the weakest link here at the school district?
The weakest link of those children who have been neglected over the years.
The people? Or who?
The children. The schools that those children attend. That's our weakest link.
How about the people who are running the school district?
Well, it's up to the superintendent to make sure, and that's why you select a superintendent with a vision for the entire district. I was not here when this superintendent was hired. I've been here through about 3 or 4 superintendents, and everyone comes in with a different vision. It is my role as a board member to support the leadership that we have and to make sure that I have the input from my community to better understand where we need to focus our attention and to help them to gain some momentum in the process of equitable distribution of funds.
And where has the school district made those gains, I should say?
I have to look forward and hope that we're in the process of doing that now. I've only been, and I call this a job,
right,
2 months.
Yes.
I have 2 years. But in the 2 years that I'm here,
sure,
I do plan to do my best to make sure that we take a look at inequities and make sure that we do what we can to make sure that the students who have fallen behind, students who have fallen between the cracks, get the same opportunity as other students from our more wealthy districts.
Dr. Helen Davis-Frazier, thank you so much for your time, and again, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
And thank you, Quintin, for having me. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again. Hopefully, the next time we meet, that we're going to talk about some positive issues that's going to affect this entire school district, issues that's going to bring out some positive numbers about where we are with our students and how we have engaged this community to help us to get from point A to point B. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future.
Yes, indeed. And one last question, Dr. Frazier. What are those positive numbers right now in your district? I want to pinpoint district by district. Where in your district are the positive numbers you
I don't
see?
have the numbers. I'm waiting on that tonight.
Okay.
And so we should have a full report tonight on those numbers. I am looking forward to that. In fact, I got here early.
Yes.
So that I could,
12 o'clock.
So I could get on this. I have some paperwork that I'm going to be involved in. And what I did not know, Quintin, was that this is a full-time commitment. Listening to our teachers, listening to our parents, and at the same time making sure that I'm in a position to help and to gain the knowledge to move this district forward in a positive direction so that we leave no child behind.